With Christmas just around the corner, many are turning to buy now, pay later services. But with the industry largely unregulated in Australia, the government is cracking down to protect users and prevent financial abuse.
I heard stories about people who say, look, this is a great innovation, enables me to use my phone like a credit card, but therein lies the trap. This is not a credit card.
Buy now, pay later services have exploded since 2015, giving Aussies the option to get whatever they want now and pay for it later with interest-free instalments, like lay-by without the pesky delayed gratification.
I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it.
And while lots of Aussies manage to keep on top of their debt, others struggle.
It was good when I was a student.
Yeah, I've spent a couple of grand on it.
I learnt my lesson and now I've tried to settle down. I bought a lot of things that I could not necessarily afford.
There's now around 20 services on the market, and more than 7 million Aussies have been lured in by the promise of a juicy dopamine hit. And the consequences, well, that's a problem for future you! But 1 in 5 users are in over their heads, forced to cut back on other essentials such as food to meet repayments. Also delaying the payment of other urgent bills and loans.
The businesses that sit behind these products make money from merchant fees and those late payment fees. What's next when they can't pay it back? It's a debt spiral that just keeps going.
Now the federal government is vowing to crack down, calling for submissions into ways to regulate the industry to bring it into line with credit card providers. Currently, there are almost no checks on whether people can afford the debt they're taking on with buy now, pay later services.
I've applied for it and the checks were completely minimal.
We don't want to see people who are in the same situation they were in the bad old days where they might have had 5, 6, 7 or 8 credit cards. No one company knew that the other one had one.
Let's do something that protects the consumer, has checks and balances in place so that people who are already in debt aren't getting into more debt that will ultimately cost the economy.
One of the big problems here is that no one ever got told at the beginning that if you don't make your payment when you're supposed to make your payment, you're suddenly going to get punished. And now we have a situation where the economy's going pretty poorly at the moment with inflation, that people are using Afterpay to buy fuel and food. It's not just clothing anymore.
It's essentials.
Essential stuff.
So what do you do about that, though? Because, like, you can regulate as much as you like, but it's very hard to stop people spending money on essentials. They need them, and then they accumulate that debt. And sure, that makes the situation worse down the track, but you're not thinking down the track if what you need to do is eat tonight.
So it's interesting that you can sign up to multiple different ones at the same time. So maybe if there was regulation around how many different ones you can have on the go or something, so they could track a bit more and track your spending and when you're not meeting repayments.
Well, that's right, because if you miss a payment, you just go to another one.
Exactly.
If you get shut out, that's the problem.
Yeah, you end up in a cycle where you're borrowing money in order to pay off money. And so
Which
on.
people used to do with credit cards. They'd pay off a credit card with another credit card.
It still doesn't solve your problem not being able to eat.
No,
This is the thing. I don't know. There's a hard end to this, right?
Well, yes. I mean, I raised the food issue because it has been used as an example. I don't know how common it is.
Sure, that's a fair point. Yeah, but we're still talking about a lot of people, right? We're saying 7 million people on it. 1 in 5 unable to afford it.
It's such a honeypot for people to say, OK, I want that now.
Especially for the younger generation too, that want immediate gratification at all times. You know, think about lay-by when we'd have to wait for 6 months to pay it off. You know, they would never wait for something.
You buy a pair of jeans and then they're out of fashion by the time you got them. That's what I mean.